Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and welcome to part two of my, fourth annual WWE Year in Review Awards 2018. Back up here once again with my good friends Robbie One Kenobi and the Club of the Man 1993, breaking down our final top 10 picks for the categories that you can find down below. And guys, it's great to have you back up here.
Sure thing.
Thank you as always, Daniel. Pleasure to be back. Pleasure to be with you guys from the start this time, not 40 minutes into the damn stream because freaking Google Hangouts on my desktop wasn't working properly. But no, got to give a shout out to the people at Google who made the Google Hangouts app because it comes in handy with my iPhone.
See, there's always a plan B.
Always. Triple H
like
over here.
You like that one? Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
Anyway,
thanks, Daniel. Yeah. Hey, so Daniel, is there anything I can do for you before we count down from 10 through 1? Can I refill your cup, get you something to eat, drive you out in the middle of nowhere, leave you for dead?
Thanks, Eddie.
Nice.
I love that movie.
And it was just on again because they were doing another Griswold Vacation Marathon. So every time I see it, Dan, I got to watch it, man.
You have to. It's classic. Yeah. It is classic.
Eddie? He's like,
so great. So great. Yeah. It's the greatest thing ever.
Eddie? Kids, come out here and see what Uncle Clark's done in the house.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Well, guys, let's get started with category number 10 where we left off. We're going to start with the worst match of the year. This should be a fun one.
Wait, we ended with that one last time, I think.
We ended with the worst match of the year, yeah.
Why don't we just go over it again just to keep it 10-1? We're going to do it again.
Sure.
We'll start with Mike. Mike, tell us what was your worst match of the year?
Yeah, my worst match of the year was that great match that sent Asuka down a bad spiral course, which was again the match at Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship with James Ellsworth locked in the shark cage. Because as I said last time, it was just a feud that just showed that it was that if they wanted to really go with Asuka on a losing streak or something like that, the right way to book it was not to immediately throw her back into a championship match with someone like Carmella, who literally we all knew had no chance at beating Asuka whatsoever. So they bring back James Ellsworth instead, turn into a comedy act once again of just James Ellsworth being kicked the crap out of each week by Asuka, and the match itself was just James Ellsworth trying to prick the lock on the shark cage, and Ellsworth gets his foot caught in the post or wherever the heck it is. And most of the match is just Asuka literally kicking the crap out of James Ellsworth, the pinata. Asuka. While Carmella sits in the corner and just watches. And then finally, Asuka goes to try to finish him off. But then Carmella comes out of the blue and hits a super kick, and that's it. So it was just a match that benefited absolutely nobody. It was stupid enough to just bring back Ellsworth again, just to, protect Carmella from Asuka, which, as I said before, if you had to protect your champion that bad from someone like Asuka, then, you should have had the match. Again, as I keep saying, it should have been Carmella and Naomi at times. It was just too soon to put Asuka back in the championship run, but it did nothing for Asuka. It brought her back down. I felt it was just awful. So that's why it was my worst match of the year.
Good pick. Robbie, you are up next.
So the match that I picked for worst match of the year is the match that sadly turned Braun Strowman into the babysitter among men, and that was that tag team match at WrestleMania 34 where it was him and Nicholas versus The Bar for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Like I said last week, this was such a disappointing payoff because for weeks they were hyping up, who's Braun Strowman's partner going to be, and then at the end, when it all came to fruition, he picks a 10-year-old from the crowd who turns out to be the son of one of the referees, and the kid never did a damn thing. The kid tagged himself in, but then realized that he could have gotten squashed by either Cesaro or Sheamus. He tagged back out, and Braun Strowman did all the work, and it was just bad. Braun Strowman did not have a lot of good to great matches in 2018, and to me, this is what really hurt him. I feel like this turned him into nothing but a comedy act, and honestly, it should have just been Strowman on his own going for the titles, or Strowman and Joe, or Strowman and Lashley. But instead, they did this for Lord knows what reason, and it just sucked. I just remember scratching my head thinking, really? watching this. So yeah, that's why it was my worst match of the year.
All right, we got two good picks there. I'm going to round it out here with my pick for my worst match of the year. Like I said, there was a lot of crap this year, but I think the creme de la creme of crap was, I keep going back to this match. It was a tag team championship match from the December 3rd, 2018 edition of Raw. It was the Authors of Pain versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And of course, this is where Drake Maverick took the robe and urinated on it in a toilet. And to me, this was just a fitting analogy for the entire Raw tag team division as it is. This is a tag team championship match. And the biggest thing that we got out of this was urination, pee-pee jokes. Like, shouldn't it be about the tag team championships, which were a complete afterthought, and to me still kind of are. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what they're doing with the tag team titles, but it's just like, I'm watching this, and I had some hope for this match, and then what they ended up doing, what type of story they attempted to tell, to me, it was just a complete and epic fail on the part of WWE's creative team. So that is my pick for worst match of the year. So now that we got that out of the way.
Hey, Daniel. Hey, Mike. Urine.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
That was horrible. I never saw that, but when you mentioned it, Mike, I was just, oh god. It was catering, right? They were in catering.
Yeah, it was in catering.
Yep. Just terrible. But let's take a negative and turn it into a positive, because that's where we're going next. This is going to be our number 9 spot for the women's match of the year. There were a lot of great stuff. To me, the women have been one of the big highlights of WWE on the main roster, particularly SmackDown, because it's the man's show after all. So shout out to Becky. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys were able to come up with this category, because like I said, we had a lot of great matches this year when it came to the women's division. We'll start with Mike. Mike, what was your pick for the women's match of the year?
Well, if I can make a little joke here and say, Becky may say she is the man, but on YouTube, I am the man after all. Just to throw it out there. Duh! Get my James Butler impression in there. Nah, but speaking of Becky.
Man.
I do agree, though. There was a lot of good women's matches from 2018. There was like 4 or 5 of them that I was really considering for this category. The one, though, that I went with was, I feel, the one that could not just be women's match of the year, but may also be my entire match of the year for sure. And that is Becky Lynch and Charlotte and the last woman standing match at Evolution, the match that should have been the main event. To me, this was like Becky, the biggest win of Becky's career, I feel, in general. She beat Charlotte for the championship after she went to this, on this new run with this new attitude and whatnot, not being just like sweet caring person, more being like, more aggressive and just tired of just living in Charlotte's shadow. Like Charlotte, as I mentioned how many times, goes away, gets her breast fixed, then comes back and gets an opportunity after losing it right before she leaves. But then Charlotte gets in her way again, and then she eventually, wins the title back at Hell in a Cell. Then they have this match, which was pretty much like a match that was Becky's to win in general. But this had like everything in it, there's like, with good use of weapons. I remember one of my favorite spots was when Becky Lynch, she did that in the TLC match also, where she jumped off the top of the ladder and did like the double knees or whatever the heck it was through the table. It was just, from this match on, anytime you've seen Becky or Charlotte cross paths, you built these two up that they really want to kill each other whenever they are in the ring. There was a spot also where Becky tried to literally bury Charlotte underneath the chairs. Was not quite enough, but there was, of course, a savage move by Becky there as well. Again, Charlotte had a lot of good spots in there, especially the part where I think she had some type of submission on Becky while Becky's like arm or leg was through the ladder or something like that. Just a lot of like brutal moves that I want to put over for the women also in this past year. And as the past couple of years, when you see the women have these like stipulation matches, sometimes it looks like they're still kind of playing it safe, but like in this match, even the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, it looks like they're finally, going like a little more out with the women and not playing so safe anymore. And of course, the best part of this was that Becky won, and she needed that win. I feel much more than Charlotte. It was like her like defining moment of her career. I feel like the win of her career that made it more like, okay, like we're being serious about booking this woman to like at high heights and moving to the momentum she had. So I think it told the great story there. It had Becky coming out on top, which is a great move there. And I think to me, it was the best women's match of the year, which is my number one women's match of the year. Just a quick honorable mention I want to throw out there. I also really enjoyed the match with Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura in the Mae Young Classic. That was probably my second pick because it was if you didn't know who Meiko Satomura was before this tournament started, you really got to know her throughout this tournament, really come across as like legendary and whatnot. And then having Toni Storm go in there and literally put on probably the match for her career also. I thought that match told a great story. It made Toni like a megastar. So that was my number 2 pick. But my number 1 pick is still the last woman standing match at Evolution.
Good pick. Good pick. Robbie, you are up next.
So like you said, Daniel, the women's division on both the main roster and NXT had a few great matches throughout the year. Just throw some of them out. Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania 34 was great.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha and Asuka a month before, where thank God Sasha Banks didn't kill herself following that scary dive. Some of the matches in the Mae Young Classic, the Kairi Sane Shayna Baszler series this year, especially their match at Brooklyn 4 for the NXT Women's Championship. I thought that was a great match, great storytelling. But my pick for women's match of the year involves a queen, an empress, the man, tables, ladders, and chairs. It's a triple threat women's TLC match from TLC in December, which was from my hometown of San Jose, California. I didn't go to that pay-per-view because even though there were 2 or 3 real good matches I wanted to see in person, the rest of the card just didn't do it for me. But this match truly delivered, and it was the main event, and I was happy that the women were main eventing the show. Crazy spots, crazy storylines going into it. Asuka looking for redemption against Charlotte because Charlotte broke the streak. Becky and Charlotte's blood feud pretty much, continuing. And it was all for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And like you said, Mike, Becky had a spot that she did just like at Evolution. The diving leg drop from a ladder onto Charlotte through the table. Charlotte damn near breaking Asuka in half with that spear through the barricade. Kendo sticks came into play. Ladders, tables, chairs. Hence why it's called a TLC match. Great match. I loved it. It felt like a fight, a straight-up fight between these 3 women who just wanted to prove why they're the best. You had some interference from Ronda Rousey, and in the end, even though it was, a little, like 8 months too late, Asuka got the SmackDown Women's Championship. And I'll say that so far, she hasn't been booked badly as champion. We'll see where it goes from here leading in the Royal Rumble. But, great match. Asuka won the title, and the Becky Charlotte feud far from over, I could say, like with Ciampa and Gargano. But great match. Like I said, I was happy to see the women main event in the Bay Area. And yeah, not really much else I can say. Just the women's evolution continues to move forward.
For sure.
Great pick. Great pick. And now let's round things out with my pick here. I'm going to have to go with Mike's pick as well. We're going back to Evolution. Last woman standing, Charlotte Becky. Man, oh man. You said it well, Mike. Just with the attitude change of Becky going into this match, the physicality that I saw between these 2 women, I really haven't seen in a match like this before. It was certainly, like you said, Mike, it seemed to me like the women were taking it up to another level and proved on this all-women's pay-per-view, which was an outstanding pay-per-view, by the way, from top to bottom, one of the best of the year.
Right.
Evolution was. That the women have arrived, and they are definitely one of, if not the best part in WWE today. So this match was a testament to that, and just to see what Becky and Charlotte and how they were able to put their bodies on the line in this match and the pain and punishment, how Becky was able to survive, which I didn't think she would, but she found a way to. It was incredible. I mean, and taking this match, and looking at, other matches that you guys mentioned, it was really tough to narrow this down. I mean, there were a ton of great candidates, like you mentioned, Charlotte Asuka. The women's elimination chamber match was really, really good this year as well. Sasha Asuka, Charlotte Ronda at Survivor Series. I mean, that was incredible. The triple threat TLC, like I said, I'm so happy to see where the women have come, and there's only one thing left for them to do, and that is main event WrestleMania.
Yes.
35.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think we're going to see it happen this year. I can't believe I'm saying
it. It has to happen, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If there's any time, it's going to be this year. So, yeah, that's my pick for women's match of the year. Now,
if I can just say one thing real quick, the one thing, I'm happy the women got a Royal Rumble match this year, because for a few years I wondered, would they ever do a women's Royal Rumble match? And of course, I'm always for the female superstars of WWE and NXT to get opportunities like that. The only thing about the Elimination Chamber was that it happened too soon. It happened right after the Royal Rumble, and I felt like it was forced. Like, hey, we gave the women the Royal Rumble spot. Now we're going to give them an Elimination Chamber match. Like, I felt like that was just forced, and that was just WWE's way of saying, look, we're making history again with the women, just trying to find a way to make history. When, eventually I'm sure we'll Elimination Chamber match, but the only thing was, like I said, it happened right after the Rumble. If it had happened, maybe if they had done an Elimination Chamber match at like SummerSlam this year and built up to it with like 6 strong contenders, then it would really feel special. You know what I'm saying? I just want things with the women to feel special, not like one after the other after the other. You know what I'm saying? Because that doesn't feel as special.
Well, that's the problem when you have a gimmick pay-per-view, and that's why I'm not a fan of that.
We talked about this like almost 3 years ago, Daniel. Hell in a Cell, that's a gimmick pay-per-view that needs to go, because the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view has lost its luster. It's like you're always going to get a Hell in a Cell match now. Oh, and how can I forget? We got a Hell in a Cell match that had no conclusion this past September.
Oh,
that was terrible.
That was terrible. The Shield and the Dogs of War on top of the Cell, and Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns annihilated by Brock Lesnar. Lord.
Oh, that could have been a candidate for worst match of the year.
Could have been.
I never saw it, so I can't say it.
Yeah. But anyways, speaking of,
and they brought in freaking Mick Foley to try to. I don't know if it was to try to get interest in that match or get on Roman's side, but it still didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Just felt forced.
Trying to kiss and say, it was like the 20-year anniversary, I reckon it was, of his big fall or something like that. So that's why I meant, no, you had him in there to protect Roman, Vince. Quit covering your ass, buddy.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Moving on.
It's all good. Yes, let's move on to our match of the year. This is always a fun category, and let's lead things off with Robbie. Robbie, what was your match of 2018?
So this was really not hard for me to pick, because, like I said in our last stream, the 2 men involved in this match put on 3 incredible matches every time they stepped up to the plate in the main event of whatever NXT TakeOver event it was. So my main event, or my match of the year for 2018, is Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, Chicago Street Fight from NXT TakeOver Chicago 2.
Nice.
To me, this was the best of their 3 matches, because it had a great amount of storytelling, emotion, drama, violence. It was a street fight. Gargano came out in like a Captain America-like outfit. Ciampa came out. They came out in street gear, not in wrestling gear, in street gear. And I forgot if it was you, Dan, or you, Mike, who said you want to see guys in a street fight come out in street clothes.
Yes,
well, Gargano
that's probably you,
and
Dan.
Ciampa came out. Yeah, Gargano and Ciampa came out in street clothes, and it was a straight-up street fight with so many crazy spots. I remember the stop sign spot where Johnny had a sign. I think it said Johnny Wrestling on it or something. He smacked Ciampa over the head with it, and he revealed that it was a stop sign. Just the stuff they did. And then I remember Nigel McGuinness at one point, like when Johnny got the chair driven into his throat, he was trying to get the referee to stop it because he knows them very well. Like, he has a close relationship with both of them. So when you get your announcers invested in it, you're seeing something special. And that's the beauty of wrestling, telling a story like that. All the crazy spots, the violence, it was a street fight, a blood feud. And Johnny Gargano went to the dark side in this match. Like, after Ciampa took his wedding ring off and spit on it and slapped it into the crowd, he snapped and he pretty much incapacitated Tommaso Ciampa, and he reenacted the DIY split with that spot off the stage through the whatever the setting was or whatever that was. And then as Gargano is watching Ciampa get carried out on the stretcher, he's like got this deranged look in his face, and he gets off. And he goes after Ciampa some more, and he handcuffs Ciampa, and he makes one mistake. You think he's gonna win again, but he makes one mistake, and Ciampa catches him and wins. That DDT on the hardwood floor. That was just. It happened so quick, but that's what made that ending so climactic. Like, Johnny had it, and his anger got the best of him. He got heated in the moment, and Ciampa caught him.
Good storytelling.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful storytelling. I mean, we wondered, could they top that incredible unsanctioned match from New Orleans? And in my opinion, they did. That's why it's my pick for match of the year. It was just incredible. All 3 matches they had were incredible. But this was, in my opinion, the best because it felt the most realistic in terms, because it was a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really, really good pick. I loved seeing Gargano Ciampa fight, and I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of them battle. I have a feeling this story, that's what I love about this story, is far from over. So I'm glad you picked that match. It's a great pick. Mike, you are up next. What is your pick for the match of the year?
Well, Robbie, as you've mentioned several times, good minds do think alike, because my pick was also Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in the Chicago street fight as well. To me, I mean, it was either this one or the unsanctioned match, which the unsanctioned match was great as well. That more so focused a lot on like the emotional side, and it showed, a few times, Johnny or like towards the end of that match, whenever, Johnny went to hit Ciampa with the crush, but then they sat down, kind of like reenacted like how they celebrate at the end of their match in the Cruiserweight Classic until like Tommaso goaded him in until the finish, which that was good and dandy. But I felt this match, like you said, Rob, just took things to a whole another level. Like first off, the reality image here, or then wearing the street clothes and whatnot, to go out there and literally just using like everything, weapons, signs, like hardwood floor, just everything they used. It was literally just a brawl. And of course, what I was really invested with this match, sure, is I kept saying for months, even if they do have the match in New Orleans, they have to have something at the place where it all started. And I like that part whenever like they're walking back up the ramp and like you hear Tommaso just screaming at Johnny, like, you were my friend and whatnot, and this and that. And he started kind of like, like doing the same thing to Johnny, like when the turn first happened, which eventually did lead to, Johnny, snapping and beating down on Ciampa, but getting taken out on the stretcher after like you said, Robbie, he set him through the tables just like Ciampa did the year before. But then with Ciampa like spitting on his wedding ring and throwing it out in the crowd, like, the year before, Tommaso Ciampa turned to the dark side. Well, this is where Tommaso Ciampa started having Johnny Gargano turn into him, pretty much. Like Johnny Gargano has become the thing he hates most, and that's Tommaso Ciampa. And instead of Johnny just letting Ciampa go and leaving, no, he wanted to give him everything that he deserved. So he literally started beating the crap out of him off the stretcher. Like Ciampa, like he had like no chance at all. He was handcuffed and everything, and Johnny just beat the ever living shit out of him. And then of course, like you said, that ending was just great. Like it looked like Johnny had him like right in the palm of his hands. But then just as soon as he steps up to that apron, boom, that draping DDT gets smashes him right into the hardwood floor. And just like that, the tables just turned big time, and all the momentum shifted in Tommaso Ciampa's way, leading to Ciampa pretty much, just like, consuming Johnny Gargano and just like making him into what he is. And then eventually the Ciampa becoming the champion and just being on, of course, like the role of his career. So, I mean, yes, the unsanctioned match is great as well, but this one was, not, still like it, not as emotional as what it was, but just turned up a level with the violence and the intensity and just the storytelling again of like where all like first began when the turn happened, the Johnny Gargano kind of becoming Tommaso Ciampa himself. So that is my pick for best match of the year as well.
Good stuff, Mike. All right, we move on to my pick for the match of the year. Now, this also involves Johnny Gargano, but it's against a different opponent. And this happened at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. It was for the NXT Championship. Yep. Now, I loved Ciampa Gargano. Both matches were great, in my opinion, but there was just one match that I thought was even better. And in my opinion, this is still the greatest match I've ever seen in the history of NXT. So that's saying a lot because we have had some killer contests. But this match between, I'm going to say his full name because this is what I'm calling him. I'm not shortening his name. Yes. Andrade Cien Almas. That's his name. That's what it should be. We're not shortening it to Andrade. That just sounds stupid. Yeah. But anyways, versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. This match was incredible from start to finish. The action, the near falls, the story that was told of Johnny becoming so close. And then, I believe Ciampa made his return here. He was on the crutches.
At post-match, he made his return and he broke the the crutch over Johnny's back. Yeah, to add insult to injury.
Reignited their feud, and that led to their match at Takeover New Orleans. But if you want to get into wrestling, I recommend watching this match and this entire show. This was just incredible stuff, and man, my words cannot do this match justice. And just talking about it makes me want to go back and watch it again because it was freaking awesome. Like I said, the best match I've ever seen in NXT history. Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas. Wow.
And Gargano took the double knees against the digital ring post.
Yes, that's right.
Right at the end.
Andrade, that's what sealed his fate, unfortunately, when he took that move. But that match was incredible. Yeah, both guys laid it all on the line. And Andrade Cien Almas, we didn't really think he was going to last that long as a champion, but he made a hell of a champion for the time that he held on to it.
He had a nice run.
Aleister Black. We honestly thought he was just going to be a transitional champion for Gargano, but you know what? I'm happy he wasn't because that showed he can be a main eventer. And look what he did against Gargano all those times, even if it wasn't for the NXT title. And look what he did with Aleister Black before he had his send-off.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I
hopefully he's on to bigger and better things on the main roster. Like I said,
he needs a series. He needs a best of 7 series with Rey Mysterio Jr. in my opinion.
Him and Rey at WrestleMania is the match I want to see for the United States Championship.
2 out of 3 falls.
Ooh.
Yes. I mentioned that to Mike when you went to go train last time, Daniel. I think 2 out of 3 falls or 30-minute Iron Man match is perfect for these guys.
Yeah, I like the 2 out of 3. I like that a lot. But
I feel like this is the new Eddie. Like there will always only be one Eddie Guerrero, but I feel like Rey has found that Eddie in Andrade Cien Almas because their match on Tuesday was incredible.
It was great.
That's an early match of the year candidate.
Yes,
that was incredible.
That was some great stuff on free TV, nonetheless.
Yes, that's what we need a little bit more of to make the product interesting and make us want to tune in next week and see what's going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Andrade can probably win it at Chamber or Fastlane. And then get it and then he and Rey can reignite their feud. Because like you said, I think you said this, Mike. They need to have another series of matches before the end of the year. This can't just be it.
Yes.
Andrade's beaten Rey, twice now?
Yes.
He's 2-1 over Rey.
Rey has a win over him?
Yeah, it was like they had a match in, I think, October or November. Rey beat him on SmackDown.
I was going to say, it could have been a nice story of, Rey having this obstacle to overcome and then beating him for the United States Championship at WrestleMania.
Right,
and what if they do like with Eddie and Rey, but the roles are reversed? Rey can't beat this young stallion in Andrade, so he's got to maybe he puts his career, his mask on the line and to get one more shot at Andrade for the United States Championship. So
yeah, sure.
I'd love to see it. We'll see. We'll see what goes down. 80 days and counting.
Maybe they score off in a Rumble. Maybe they have a little 5-minute showdown in a Rumble, and then Rey eliminates Andrade, and Andrade's pissed.
Yes, or he eliminates Rey. We'll see.
We'll see. I hope they keep it going because SmackDown's doing some good things.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, I'm glad you brought up SmackDown and the product and what have you, because this is a nice segue into category number 7, our brand of the year. I'll lead off here, and then we'll go to Robbie. So my brand of the year, no surprise here, is the best product that WWE continues to put out. That is the 1-hour weekly show of NXT. You know why it works? It's short, sweet, to the point. It follows logic. It does what pro wrestling is supposed to do, get you invested into characters and storylines that have meaning. You have a little bit of comedy thrown in there, but it's not all comedy and a joke. It has meaning. It has purpose. It has 5 takeovers we build to a year. It gives you wanting more, not less. I felt like this was a really strong year for NXT. Whether it was with the Undisputed Era, with Andrade Cien Almas, with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa feuding, to who attacked Aleister Black, to Shayna Baszler's run as NXT Women's Champion. The list just goes on and on and on. NXT, you are my favorite product to watch, and it'll only continue to get better. So that is why it is my pick for my brand of the year. Robbie, what was your pick? And I have a feeling we're going to go for a clean sweep here. I'm thinking about it.
Well, I'm contributing my part, so you might as well get a room out because my brand of the year, hands down, not hard to pick. when you're looking at 205 Live, Raw, SmackDown, and this brand, it's clear who is the gold standard, not just because of the colors, but the gold standard in pro wrestling, and that is NXT. I mean, what else really can I say that you haven't already said, Daniel? The talent, the commentators, the presentation, the production, the matches, the stories. NXT has it all. From Andrade Cien Almas, Zelina Vega, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Undisputed Era, Mustache Mountain, Pete Dunne, Ricochet. Tons of incredible matches, tons of incredible storylines, feuds. Of course, Mauro Ranallo, Percy Watson, Nigel McGuinness on commentary. They make the matches matter. They bring you into the match. You know, they make you invested in the match. Yeah, you get comedy here and there. And, I mean, I think the best example of comedy was Aleister Black talking about Zelina Vega coming up short.
Yeah.
That was great. But, yeah, it's not forced comedy. It's comedy that matters. You know, you have a unique, diverse roster, so many great talents. The women also delivered in both the Mae Young Classic and on NXT. What else can I say? NXT, it's short, sweet, and to the point. It's 1 hour. It gets you invested. The takeover specials are 2.5 to 3 hours at the most. And, yeah, and I love NXT. Triple H is doing such a banner job with that promotion and that brand. And I hope if things don't change for the main roster, I hope he can take his own investments and everything and make NXT his own brand and make it a competition. So NXT for the 4th year in a row, in my opinion, gets brand of the year just because even though they may not be perfect, they just do tons of things right. And that's why I love professional wrestling.
Good stuff, Robbie. Mike, you are up next. Your pick for brand of the year.
Oh, come on, guys. Now you enjoyed those glorious 3 hours of Raw we had all year? I mean, that's the best show of the year.
We're kicking you out.
I'm kidding.
Put you on the list.
Or I'll take your Aleister Black toilet and I'll drop a little something on it now. I'm kidding, Mike. We love you.
I know you guys do. Don't worry. But of course, my pick is NXT for sure. I keep saying all along how I feel this, other than 2015, this probably might have been the best year for NXT. I mean, you think about it, from 2016, even beginning of 2017, they went through kind of like a rebuilding stage a little bit because of all the talent that went up to the main roster because of the return of the brand split. So they kind of did some rebuilding for a while, but then, I still feel once the Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, storyline got started in 2017, the fire just got lit back up again. You got them in your main event, but of course as well, we also need to mention too the fact that how much more talent is being stacked into this brand as well with the addition of the NXT North American Championship. We got guys like EC3, the Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan. Say it with me, guys. Adam Cole, baby. Of course, the Undisputed Era, as we said before. We have new upcoming talents coming in, such as Matt Riddle,
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee, him also. We still got Shayna Baszler around leading the women's division. Even Kairi Sane put on great showings. We got Bianca Belair, who's getting into the title picture next and whatnot. And the talent is just stacked. And like most talent, for the most part, you bring in, they find something for them to do. They make them feel, very important. They had like the Undisputed Era leading the tag team divisions. And yes, they were champions for most of the year, but they put over guys such as, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in that great match. They had at TakeOver Chicago, at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Who did they face at Brooklyn 4 again? Crap, I forgot.
Mustache Mountain.
Mustache Mountain, yes. And now we're reviewing with the War Raiders also, bringing out the best in them, who are pretty much, excuse me, I got a little coughing spell there. Damn it. Fuck. But, sorry.
Motherfucker.
But
stupid son of a bitch.
Long story.
Damn, Mike. Damn, Mike.
You need me to tag in?
Yeah, wait, what? Okay, I'm good now.
He sounds like the dog from Christmas Vacation. Snots. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, but no. Anyways, but yeah, the talent is just absolutely stacked in NXT right now, to a point again that they have to even give like a mid-card championship. Oh, and of course throw in their Ricochet, but there's just so much to look forward to. Like they're really hitting the high notes on a lot of things as well. It's a shame some of these guys are going to be going up to the main roster and probably getting put down, if you know what I mean, screwed up. But again, to me, I felt this year told some of the best stories, developed some of the best talent, and just a lot of people benefit from the brand for sure. And that's why I gotta give NXT my brand of the year.
Hell yeah!
Clean sweep. That's
Get
all
the brooms
I
out. Clean sweep.
I had a feeling. Had a little bit of feeling in my gut. Now, this is a fun category. We're gonna start with number 6, our worst pay-per-view of the year. There were some bad ones. Oh, trust me, there were a lot of.
Oh yeah.
A lot of good as well. I thought it was, pretty even bad. I thought it was better than 2017. I feel like we had a lot more bad in 2017 than we did in 2018. But that's just me, just looking at the entire calendar.
Yeah.
When it comes to main roster, because we didn't get a bad takeover. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys were able to come up with in this one. Robbie, we'll start with you.
Oh, I've been waiting to get to this category. I've been waiting. You boys better batten down the hatches because I'm locked, loaded, and I'm about to shoot. All right. So, worst pay-per-view of the year. Now, like I said in the last video, I did not watch a lot of pay-per-views this year. I only watched the ones that really invested in me. Of course, I caught every NXT TakeOver special, and I caught every edition of the Mae Young Classic because I was very invested in that tournament as well. But the pick I have for the worst pay-per-view of the year is a pay-per-view I did not watch, but I didn't need to watch it because I knew this was doomed from the start because this had so much controversy surrounding it. And Daniel, you called it blood money.
Yep.
Vince McMahon, though, wants to refer to it as, Mike, if you can hear me, throw your hands up, say it with me. Crown Jewel. Where do I start with this pay-per-view? This was doomed from the start. And you already knew there was problems with this pay-per-view because they wanted to go back to Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia had their controversy with the death of that journalist. And this was just bad. It was really bad for WWE that they took this deal because they were getting so much money and went to a place that was pretty dangerous territory. And you know it's bad when John Cena and Daniel Bryan don't want to work that event because of their fearing for their health, their safety. This was just this pay-per-view was a mess even before it went down. And this pay-per-view really only focused on the World Cup. And this was not even a real World Cup because it mainly featured American wrestlers. It didn't feature an international cast. Hold on. It didn't feature an international cast of wrestlers like the upcoming, I think it's called the World Cup at Royal Rumble Access. That one where it's like NXT stars, 205 Live stars, NXT UK stars. You guys saw that announcement, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, that's a World Cup. But the World Cup they did at Crown Jewel, it only had American wrestlers, and then it was to crown the best in the world, and it was only done to give a McMahon a trophy because Shane McMahon just inserts himself into the tournament to cover for Miz, and he was never in the tournament, and he wins the thing.
Oh, fuck.
I'm on here. I know. And then, what else? The Universal title picture with Roman, unfortunately, having to relinquish the title due to his leukemia returning, and it did not help because they put it back on the one guy we didn't want to see have the title because he is a horrible part-time champion. That's Brock Lesnar. And then the Brothers of Destruction versus DX. And that match should have never happened because it was the sequel to the thing that went down at Super Showdown. And I never wanted to see that Super Showdown match because that tainted the legacy of Once in a Lifetime. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this was a horrible pay-per-view, and I never watched it. But just because of the controversy surrounding it and the fact that it mainly built around the World Cup that crowned the McMahon the best in the world, and that could have actually been beneficial to push, a Finn Balor and Apollo Crews, one of the luchadors, No, we had to give it to a McMahon. Lucha things. And then Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement.
He's bald.
To wrestle. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Our childhood.
the hardball. Yeah, and that was horrible. Even with the announcement of Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement to team up with Triple H to fight the Brothers of Destruction, it still couldn't make me want to watch that pay-per-view. That pay-per-view should have never happened. With all the controversy about Saudi Arabia and whatnot, but like you called it, Daniel, blood money. So
that's what it is.
Worst pay-per-view of the year.
Easily. Mike, you're up next.
All right, Robbie, stand up. Let me sit down. It's my turn to go off on this. My pick, once again, just like Robbie's, is WWE Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view that Vince had to have so badly, even though it's taking place somewhere where there is controversy right now. Once again, two of your biggest stars in the company can't even have, doesn't even feel safe going out there to having this. What was, in God's name, the point of this pay-per-view? Besides the fact that you had, once again, a World Cup. Now, not just the fact that, you know, they didn't have different nationalities. They had all Americans in there, but you had guys like Dolph Ziggler and, not really the best fielded card for the most part. Like, you could have had, like, why is, like, like the world champions involved in this pay-per-view, in this, not pay-per-view, in this tournament, if it's being considered the best in the world? Aren't your champions supposed to be the best in the world, if you know what I mean? But then then the tournament happens, and of all people get to the finals. Now, again, I didn't watch this show either. I thought, okay, maybe The Miz winning this could benefit him and get him into the title picture. Instead, you have The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, which, no offense to Dolph. This past year, it was one of his better years in recent years because he helped put over Drew McIntyre. And he was basically there just to eat the pin whenever McIntyre was not going to get a win. So you have him beat Kurt Angle clean. And Kurt Angle also, the only person on Raw hyping up this whole stupid tournament, being the world's biggest cheerleader, or whatever heck you want to call him, just typing this up, loses clean to, of all people in the first round, Dolph Ziggler. He gets to the finals and best in the world. Well, why do you have a guy that you're not pushing too seriously against a guy who could benefit this in the finals, and you give it to a McMahon, and I'm making some dumb storyline out of it with Team Cole bestie, and I'm just getting sick of it. So that was a freaking waste. Again, just like another King of the Ring, when they just crown someone something and then they do nothing with it. Gosh, what else happened? Of course, and then of course the Universal title picture with again turning Braun Strowman heel before his feud with Roman Reigns was just awful. So this was the WWE's best opportunity they had to make this right by putting the title on Braun Strowman. And instead, you have Baron Corbin, who's made how many stupid mistakes as general manager, cost Braun Strowman the match by attacking with the championship before the match starts. Why in the hell would Baron Corbin even want to have Brock Lesnar with the championship? Yes, I'm sure the guy is too scared to face either one of them, but why would he want to have Brock Lesnar with the title if he's never going to be around anyways, unless he's going to make him defend the title, which once again, he's got no balls to do so. So you put you slap us across the face, putting the title back on the guy we absolutely do not want to see, rather than putting it on a guy that we do want to see. And like Robbie said also, that tag match with Brothers of Destruction and DX should have never, I repeat, never, ever happened at all. You bring Shawn Michaels out of retirement for one match just to have it at a pointless pay-per-view / network special, whatever the hell you want to call it, just to get blood money? A complete waste. Again, it's like that extra sequel to, a series that does not need to have anything, which is why the whole Triple H and Undertaker, whatever you want to call a feud, was a waste in general. This pay-per-view benefited nobody. It made the company look bad. It made the whole best in the world look like a joke. You slap us across the face and put the title back on Brock Lesnar when he could have put it on the man who most definitely had deserved it in Braun Strowman. No, you put it on Brock Lesnar and also make Baron Corbin like an idiot. And then the rest that happened, I don't even care because I didn't even watch this freaking show, like I said. So, worst pay-per-view to me because it was just a slap in the face and just, just a dumb decision to have this even exist is WWE Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel. And didn't AJ defend his title on that show?
Yeah, against Joe. And I don't know
Yeah.
when, because I didn't even watch that match, but yeah.
Well, guys, get the brooms out because my pick for worst pay-per-view event of the year is Crown Jewel, a.k.a. Crown Fool, a.k.a. I'm not going to waste my time watching 6 hours. Was it 6 hours? I don't know how long it was. I'm glad I didn't waste my time watching it. And I only saw a couple clips, and that's all I really need to say. I don't have the energy right now to rip into the show like you guys are doing, so I'm glad you guys did that. Because I don't have it in me, but yeah, it was so bad. And why do they have to put these things on the network? If you're going to go over there, fine, whatever. Do you have to make the effort of actually televising this shit? Just don't put it on the network. I'm sure nobody would lose sleep over that. And then just run your event, and pretend like it didn't happen if you have to insist on going through with this. But I am not ever watching one of these again. I watched the Greatest Royal Rumble. That was a waste of time. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting 6 or 4 hours. No.
Whatever.
All right, that's too much time to waste.
Right.
So anyway, it's background noise anyway, usually. So
yeah,
there you go. Let's move on to something more positive because I like to keep things positive here. Let's talk about our pay-per-view of the year. Mike, we'll start with you.
All right. Like you said before, Dan, I mean, pay-per-views on the main roster were decent. This year, we had a couple bad ones like Crown Jewel, Backlash.
Jewel.
Most of the pay-per-views to me, where it's like satisfying shows, but nothing I really go back and watch. But the one that I felt that I enjoyed the most on the main roster this year, I felt, believe it or not, was actually SummerSlam.
Yes.
I thought, that had a great opening match with Rollins and Ziggler for the IC title. Trying to remember what else happened on the show. Of course, we had Becky Lynch, snapping on Charlotte and just
solid triple threat.
Yes, that was a solid triple threat there as well. We even had a solid U.S. title match, I remember, out of Hardy and Nakamura. It was all right. Of course, that led to a terrible run by Shinsuke, but that garbage happens at times.
Total diva.
Me no speak English.
No speak English. But to you, we had the first of the series of matches with AJ Styles and Samoa Joe.
I love that match.
Hey, Wendy, that's what you know. Daddy's coming home. And like the Raw and AJ just snapping right in front of his wife and daughter as well. Of course, the next SmackDown was, oh, Wendy!
That was the next SmackDown because that was when AJ promised to rip Joe's heart out. That was like right after SummerSlam.
Nice, yes. What else did we get on this show? The only two matches, of course, I did not really enjoy in the show was, again, the Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman squash match.
That was garbage.
And also the main event I just didn't care for at all. But we also had, there's a couple of matches I remember. Oh, yeah. We had a couple other matches weren't long, 5-star classics, but they still did their jobs, like Finn Balor coming out as the demon, just squashing Corbin, and even Ronda Rousey defeating Alexa Bliss in the matter of seconds.
Was what it needed to be.
Exactly. Like I felt like, of course, probably a few other matches happened. I can't tell off the top of my head right now, but like almost everything that happened on that show, I felt like, yes, didn't have to be like 12 5-star classic matches or anything like that. But I felt everything on this show, for the most part, just hit exactly what it needed to be, like on the right quality. The match card structure was right on cue. Oh, and also, just throw in there also, Daniel Bryan and The Miz probably had their best match in their series also, which I thought was great as well. Of course, The Miz winning time, I thought I saw a direction for that, but then that feud didn't really go as, anywhere I thought it would be. But I felt, again, this show just like hit on like the right notes with like everything that was involved with it, except for, again, those two matches that I mentioned before. And I'd say it was probably the best pay-per-view of the year on the main roster. That's why SummerSlam is my best main roster pay-per-view of the year.
Well, Mike, I'm in agreement with you. I'm going to have to also go with SummerSlam 2018. Like you said, up and down, I really liked the card structure for the show. I thought there were a number of memorable moments on this show from the opening match. Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler had a hell of an Intercontinental Championship match. The triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship was really, really good. And then, with Becky, of course, turning on Charlotte, that was another noteworthy moment there. I thought Styles, Joe was probably the best match that I enjoyed with them on the main roster. And then with the stuff with Joe playing mind games with AJ's, family at ringside, his wife, great stuff right there. Enjoyed the Miz, Daniel Bryan, and the build up to that feud, and then the eventual match they had. Seeing the Demon come out and squash Baron Corbin, it was just match after match after match that I really enjoyed here. Nakamura defeating Jeff Hardy, solid match there. Ronda Rousey defeating Alexa Bliss in 4 minutes. It was exactly what it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the main event, it was what it was, but Reigns finally being Brock Lesnar, we finally got to that moment after they failed. They should have did that at WrestleMania. I don't know why they didn't. Dragging their feet, but they did it at SummerSlam, and it was a short match too. So we got in, we got out, and it was like the best way I could describe this show was everything was what it needed to be, and it had a really good flow, and it was one of the better SummerSlams I'd say since 2014. Looking back.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally get a really good SummerSlam this year. So that is why it's my pick for show of the year. A lot of memorable moments as well, along with good wrestling. That's all I need for a good show. Give me that, and I'll be happy. Robbie, your pick for pay-per-view of the year.
All right, guys. Do you think we're going for a clean sweep? Do you think we're getting the brooms out again?
Maybe.
Possibly.
All right. Well, my pick for pay-per-view of the year for 2018. Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of these, but this one stuck out to me because even though there was the last portion of it that I felt went downhill, for the most part, this was a fun, entertaining pay-per-view, and it was pretty much a celebration considering where it was. So my pick for pay-per-view of the year is WrestleMania 34.
Nice.
So let me.
It was a good show.
Yeah. WrestleMania 34. So let me talk about the bad first. Let me get that out of the way.
Yes.
Right after the Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, Raw Women's title matches where I felt the show went downhill. Nia and Alexa itself should have been what Ronda and Alexa was at SummerSlam. It should have been a squash pretty much.
Yeah.
Nia Jax should have just mowed through Mickie James and Alexa Bliss and won the Raw Women's Championship in like 5 minutes or something like that. Nothing special, but just established Nia Jax as a monster and the new Raw Women's Champion. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. The dream match. I was really looking forward to that match. And I thought it was a very good match for the most part. But it is nowhere near as classic as their Wrestle Kingdom 10 title match in Japan, in New Japan. That was incredible. This match was still very good. The shocker of Nakamura turning heel and hitting AJ low in the first of many nut shots that AJ took throughout that feud, and you would think he'd wear a cup after taking all those shots.
The night that Nakamura was crowned king of low blows.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, Braun Strowman and Nicholas versus The Bar for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I've already talked about that match. I won't say much. And then a really underwhelming and boring main event for the Universal title between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, where the only thing that was notable was Brock Lesnar busting up Roman Reigns and beating Roman Reigns, which was a complete swerve. No one saw that coming. I don't care if you're a smart ref, you did not see that coming. And if you say you did, you're a liar. Right. But that was the bad. The rest of the show had a lot of good. Oh, yeah. You had a red-hot opener for the Intercontinental Championship between The Miz, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. That opener was awesome. Saw Seth Rollins win his first of 2 Intercontinental Championships that year. Charlotte versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That was a great women's match with another shocker of Asuka tapping out to Charlotte and the streak coming to an end. So within 4 years, within 30, 31, 32, 33. So within 5 WrestleManias, 2 streaks in New Orleans have come to an end.
That is true.
The place where streaks go to die. But yeah, and my only complaint with that match is I don't like how Asuka tapped out fast, and I don't like how she congratulated Charlotte. Like, she just congratulated her like that loss doesn't affect her. Like, no, that I think was where Asuka started to go downhill a little bit. You also had hands down the match of the night, Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. Ronda silenced the doubters. She gave a star-making performance, one hell of a performance for a newcomer. And I mean, she broke Stephanie's arm, kayfabe wise. She broke her arm with the armbar. The fact she managed to pick up Triple H and hit a Hurricane Rana on him was incredible. WrestleMania 34. Oh yeah, you had a fatal 4-way for the U.S. title, which was bleh. A triple threat match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which was bleh. So yeah, there was some good, bad, but overall, I thought WrestleMania 34 was a good, fun, entertaining show. And honestly, of all the pay-per-views I saw, I feel like it was the pay-per-view of the year. It was New Orleans. The set, my God, was beautiful. That was one of the best WrestleMania sets. Yeah, that was one of the best WrestleMania sets I've seen in recent years. I don't know if it'll top that. Well, you know what? That roller coaster.
No, that's the best.
Yeah.
No way.
That roller coaster was incredible, but WrestleMania 34 set was beautiful. It felt like New Orleans. It embodied the New Orleans spirit. And how can I forget, on the pre-show, a good Cruiserweight Championship match between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, where Cedric won the vacant title and went on that incredible run as Cruiserweight Champion. And Matt Hardy, winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal with the help of Bray Wyatt. So
yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Thank
so yeah,
you,
there was plenty of good. There was some bad, but overall, of all the pay-per-views I saw and I actually enjoyed, WrestleMania 34 was the best.
I agree. I thought WrestleMania 34 was a solid WrestleMania, and it's a good pick. Good picks all around, guys. Moving to category number 4 here. Worst tag team of the year. Let's start with Mike. What was your pick for the worst tag team of the year?
Can I put the whole entire Raw tag team division on this list?
Honestly, yes. If you really wanted to.
If I wanted to, yeah, but if I had to just pick one, I had to pick the team that, usually when it comes to this category, for the most part, I usually pick the team that I felt had the biggest downfall for the years. Let's face it, there's been several tag teams the past 4 or 5 years that just never get out of the hole, like the Ascension or the Colognes, which somehow they're still under contract, and several others. But my pick for worst tag team of the year has to be the team that is apparently trying to get out right now, and God bless their souls if they are, the Revival. I don't know what it was, if they just didn't rely on them anymore because of their injuries or whatnot. And yes, I know these guys' philosophies have always been like very simple style of wrestling, but to me, it's what makes their philosophy work in NXT. No flips, just fists. Did he have to do the big flips? But even though they were villains, they always looked like they were smart and outsmarting their opponents exactly, like the Miz also, like make it look like they didn't have to just cheat like cowards to win. They literally were able to be smart and outsmart them. And now they're just getting squashed by the freaking Lucha House Party every single week, or just being in the position where it's like, once again, they're supposed to be the bad guys, right? Then why are they constantly getting ripped off in like matches of calls not being said against them? Or the Lucha House Party, once again, under a heel general manager, baby faces are getting a 3-on-1, 3-on-2 advantage on them, and just making them look like just like a big laughing stock of the entire year. Like, I knew as soon as they literally repeated what they did with the Ascension back in 2015 with that whole segment with what Road Dogg saying like, oh, we got the thoroughbreds and the racehorses. Brian's got one question for you all. Who invited the jackasses? Like when the moment the Ascension got buried there, they did that exact same thing on Raw 25 this year with DX and the Club, who once again were already nowhere close to getting out of the hole and still really aren't. Sorry guys, but they really aren't. But that's what set the Revival, down to that level as well. It's just unfortunate. I mean, yes, they've got a couple Raw tag title matches, but again, nothing right now in this Raw tag team division just feels like is lighting anything on fire for me at all whatsoever. It's not. I mean, maybe, except for the in fact, the best match we can get, of course, out of the Raw tag team division was against two teams that were just briefly together, McIntyre and Ziggler, and Rollins and Ambrose. You don't have like any legit tag. You got with the B team being tag team champions, which hats to giving Dallas and Axel sometimes the titles. They've been ripped off for sure, but it wasn't lighting the world on fire. Now you have Bobby Roode and Shad Gable, who are just salvaging it, and Authors of Pain that literally went downhill. It's like no saving them. But to me, I felt the team that suffered the most this year was definitely Dash and Dawson, the Revival. And once again, I do hope they do stick to their guns and they do go to AEW, wherever they'll get booked properly. And don't just stay because Vince is going to offer them the money. Just go where you're going to actually be treated because they want you, not because oh, you're there. If you go somewhere else, you're going to ruin our competition and whatnot. So, yeah, my worst tag team of the year has got to be the Revival.
Man, how the mighty have fallen. It's sad to see what has happened to the Revival, and I hope they find another company to take their talents to. We'll see what the future holds for them.
Right.
Robbie, your pick for worst tag team of the year.
If I could, Daniel, I would put the whole Raw tag team division on this list for worst tag team of the year because I saw no tag team on the division that benefited. Revival, AOP, which is a damn shame because they were great tag team champions down in NXT. B Team didn't last long. What was the team of Bray Wyatt, Matt and Matt Hardy called?
Leaders of Worlds.
The Leaders of Worlds. They didn't last long. Titus Worldwide didn't go anywhere. The Club before they came to, the Club really hasn't done anything else. But my pick's going to be very unique, guys, because when I thought of worst tag team of the year, okay, it doesn't need to necessarily be an established tag team. It could have been a team that was together for a month, 2 months, didn't go anywhere, were horrible. Or in my case, could have been a team that was like a one-night stand, and then even after they won tag team gold, they had to drop it because a certain someone had to go back to kindergarten or wherever freaking grade he's in. I think you guys know where I'm going with this.
Oh my god!
I've mentioned this I don't know how many times in this review, in this award series, but my worst tag team of the year, even though they were together for one night, it just never happened. Braun Strowman and Nicholas. I really don't have anything else to say because I've already said everything about it other than, yes, Braun Strowman. Like you said, Mike, Mommy, who's going to watch me after school today? The babysitter among men.
I will babysit you!
I'm done, Mike. I'm done, Daniel. I have nothing else to say about that team. I've already said everything about it. So
you really have.
Strowman, Nicholas, yeah.
That is easily understandable. And you know what? I think I'm going to also go with Braun Strowman and Nicholas just because of the amount of disappointment that I also felt when that happened at WrestleMania. I'm like, really? That's going to be your team? We're not going to do Samoa Joe, Bobby Lashley, or somebody else like you mentioned. Just what a huge letdown and a disappointment. And I don't really have anything else to say because I felt like, Robbie, you adequately explained why that was just a stupid decision to begin with. Let's move on.
Did anyone by any chance that night also get the itch? Remember when Braun was walking through the crowd, we saw No Way Jose in the crowd. Did anybody think he was going to pick No Way Jose at first?
I missed that. I missed
that. I didn't even see him because I was just like, where's he going? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, and then he picks the kid, and I'm like, I'm sitting there silent, like,
I was like, I'm done.
What? Yeah.
So, There you go. Category number 3, guys. We're almost there. Tag Team of the Year. I will start off. My pick for Tag Team of the Year is the Undisputed Era. They've had great match after great match after great match. They've held the NXT Tag Team Championships. We'll see how they do going up against the War Raiders or War Raiders at NXT TakeOver Phoenix. But they've been one of my favorite acts to watch on NXT, and they just continue to excel in these tag team championship matches. And I love the turn of Roderick Strong joining the Undisputed Era with Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. They just make a great unit. And as a tag team, like I say, they excel in any and all matches that they're given on the NXT roster. So they've been my favorite team to watch. And the NXT tag division as a whole is a lot stronger than the men's tag team division on the main roster. So that's another reason why I give it to an NXT team like the Undisputed Era, because this has last year was certainly their year of dominance. So that's my pick for Tag Team of the Year. Mike, your pick.
Well, once again, guys, good minds think alike. There's no doubt about it, this was the year, and hopefully the first of many years for the Undisputed Era. I mean, said enough already, Dan. I mean, these guys, they win anyway. Yes, they'll cheat to win, but they can also win like dominating badasses as well. Just watch matches against they had like Mustache Mountain or against like Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch or even recently they had a decent match on NXT with Heavy Machinery as well. Like everyone they faced this year, they made look great and they look great in it as well. Again, they have a great unit going there with Adam Cole, getting to run with the NXT North American Championship as well. Kyle O'Reilly, has his own entity, even having a great match put incredible. He had a match with Pete Dunne for the UK title that earlier this year that I remember was a solid match. To Roderick Strong, which that shocker of him turning on of all people Pete Dunne at Takeover New Orleans. I did not see that happening. I'm not sure if that was the plan all along, but it only happened because Bobby Fish got hurt. Even Bobby Fish, who kind of got the short end of stuff because of his injury here, he's still there doing great things as well for them. And I don't know what the future holds for them in 2019, but I definitely hope they have another great year. And as Adam Cole says, in 2019, all 4 members will be draped in gold. So I hope to see that happen as well, as my pick as well is the Undisputed Era.
All right, Robbie, you are up next.
Get the brooms out, boys. Great minds think alike. My pick for Tag Team of the Year, undisputedly, the Undisputed Era. A great...
Shock.
Didn't matter... The system. It didn't matter what combination of Undisputed Era it was, whether it was Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, or the shocker of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Those guys went out there and just proved why they were a dominant unit. They had great matches with the likes of AOP, which I think that match might become a hidden gem in like 5 years, the match they had with AOP at TakeOver Philadelphia, because it was a totally different match. It was Undisputed Era dominating and what's the word? Dominating, and they were wrestling at their pace. They brought AOP down to their pace. And AOP were the ones that had to try to make mount a comeback and whatnot. So I really enjoyed the storytelling of that match. And then of course, that great match at TakeOver Chicago 2 with Burch and Lorcan, where Burch and Lorcan were pretty much the heels until they put on that red hot performance and the crowd gave them a standing ovation at the end of the match. The matches with Mustache Mountain, both on NXT UK and NXT TV, especially the one where Trent Seven went through so much pain with that injured knee and just the emotion of, Tyler Bate trying to like do the right thing. And Trent Seven not wanting him to throw in the towel, but Tyler Bate just watching his friend, his mentor, in agonizing pain, like he had to step in and do what he had to do. In Undisputed Era, they took advantage. They cranked up the pain and whatnot. The matches with Mustache Mountain were awesome. And then, of course, the feud with the War Raiders and Ricochet and Pete Dunne and the War Games match itself was awesome. Win or lose, and they rarely lost, this year. Right. Undisputed Era, like I said, any combination of them and the Tag Team Championships, they went out there, they did their thing. They proved why they're a dominant unit. They're all great and with their own styles. They're all unique. Awesome team. Can't really say much else that hasn't been said because that's just undisputed.
All right, guys, we are on to our final 2 categories here. Let us lead off with Mike for, what are we on? Women's Wrestler of the Year.
Yep, like we said earlier, the women had some great moments, I felt, in 2018, but there was no one else, I felt, other than the man herself, Becky Lynch. First half of the year, Becky was kind of like, still kind of stuck in the shadow like she was since she had dropped her SmackDown Women's Championship at the end of 2016. And then I felt her momentum started to pick up around Money in the Bank when she won her qualifying match, of course, being in the match. And again, like that match, like was booked to look like that Becky was going to win that briefcase. How many times? Of course, Alexa Bliss won that there. To Becky still picking up win after win after win that entire summer until it was clear to us that, Becky was ready to be back up on top. We wanted to see Becky on top, and that's the reality. We wanted her there. Not WWE. We did. So what happened? She beats Carmella to earn a championship match at SummerSlam. But then once again, Charlotte goes away and has plastic surgery or whatever, and comes back. And even though she had just lost her championship opportunity before she left, she has won just because when she comes back in, gets added to that triple threat match. And it obviously started to show Becky, kind of get a little bothered by that. Obviously, she had worked so hard to get back on the top, and it's true. Charlotte, again, barely does anything, and she gets their opportunity just because. The Charlotte beating Becky at SummerSlam. And Becky finally just had enough. She snapped, and at first, WWE tried to make us hate her. If you remember that promo when she cut? I'm not going to forget. Becky Lynch doubted that the fans were behind her. And I'm like, this is total BS. Like there's no way you can have Becky come out there and say that. But then finally kind of toning down on her with blaming the audience. And yeah, a few times she did a couple of heel moves. I was just like, come on, guys, stop this. But no, she got that savage attitude. It was more so of after a while, it's hey, I'm the hottest act going, which is all they had to do in 2016 whenever Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were feuding. But to fast forward back to 2018, of course, Becky Lynch got over. And, obviously, Charlotte eventually be the one that everybody was like, hey, stop this, but she eventually, dethroned Charlotte at Hell in a Cell. Again, she had the great match at Evolution to win the championship. And then, of course, the buildup for the feud with Ronda Rousey. Literally, the promos that both of them cut on each other was just right on point, exactly what that feud needs to be, to her brutal attack and leading the SmackDown Women's Division to beat down on the Raw Women's Division before Survivor Series, to Becky getting the busted open face. But again, her continuing to just beat the living hell out of everyone, but mainly Ronda Rousey in that segment, looking like just a complete badass. And yes, she lost the championship, but again, the story continues on. As I still think, even though she's in the title match with Asuka at Royal Rumble, I feel some way she's going to find her way into that Rumble match, and she is going to face Ronda Rousey in some way at WrestleMania. Even if Charlotte's coming with her, she's facing her. So Becky Lynch, found her niche this year, I felt, and she became the hottest act for sure in the company. And I cannot wait to see what she does leading up to WrestleMania. So no doubt about it, start off the year on the low side, but she just went up just like that out of nowhere. And Becky Lynch is my pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year.
All right, Robbie, you're up next. Your pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year.
Well, my pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year, the number one woman in WWE of 2018 is the man, Becky Lynch. And pretty much Mike said everything that needed to be said. Becky really, really bounced back in the summer, racking up win after win after win to eventually
life.
What?
No, wait.
Okay, anyway, where was I? Yeah, Becky racked a win after win after win in the summer and finally got what she wanted, a shot at the SmackDown Women's Championship that she had been wanting back since losing it to Alexa Bliss. And then, of course, Charlotte got thrown into the mix. And I'll never forget that night that Charlotte won the right to fight in the triple threat match at SummerSlam. Becky watching backstage, and she had that look of disdain like, oh, God, she's in it. She's going to screw me over again, watch. And storyline-wise, yeah, she did. Charlotte did screw Becky out of the title at SummerSlam. And Becky's rampage when she slapped the hell out of Charlotte and just beat her down, oh, that was awesome. And from there, Becky Lynch, straight fire, turned into a wildfire and became the man and was just cutting these stone cold-like promos. Finally beat Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title at Hell in a Cell. Beat her again at Last Woman Standing at the Evolution pay-per-view. led the assault on the Raw women's locker room, led the assault on Ronda Rousey, even with a busted face, a broken nose. Just that image of her with the blood on her face is iconic, as iconic as Austin with the blood running down his face. See that connection there?
Yes.
And then, of course, even though she lost the SmackDown Women's Championship, she is still the hottest thing on the main roster in the women's division, and she's still gunning for good old Ronnie Rousey. And yeah, I believe their paths, one way or another, are going to cross at WrestleMania. Becky had a hell of a comeback year, and she is the hottest thing right now in the WWE on the main roster in the women's division. And I feel like 2019 is going to be an even bigger year for her. So yeah, kudos to Becky. She's awesome. I personally met her at Toy Expo in Santa Clara in August. A very cool, down-to-earth, humble person, and just an awesome wrestler and deserving of women's wrestler of the year for 2018.
And she also invented my favorite GIF. Screw you!
Oh, yeah. I could have asked, Your Majesty. I could have asked. Screw you!
All right, my pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year is also Becky Lynch, and you guys did a great job of explaining why, and I apologize for kind of going in and out of consciousness here, but I'm going to make it. Let's go to category number 1, our Wrestler of the Year. I'll start off with me. AJ Styles was my pick for Wrestler of the Year because he had a phenomenal year. He was WWE Champion. He did a lot of stuff that I can't remember right now because my brain is I'm coming to the end here, but I'm going to make it. But AJ's my pick for the year.
Holy shit.
You're up next.
Wait, me?
It's getting bad.
Okay.
I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, don't start singing in your sleep again, Dan. I don't know what the heck that was before, but anyway, so my pick for Wrestler of the Year. And yes, AJ Styles, did have a good year. I'll put him over that. But there was 2 guys, of course, in NXT that I just felt really went just above and beyond, and we talked about them how many times. So it was between them 2 for me for who was going to be Wrestler of the Year. But I looked at this more as, results, because the other guy I feel still has something to prove. This one I feel has gotten to where he needs to be, and now just the ball is in his court. So that's why I picked the Blackheart, the Sicilian psychopath himself, Tommaso Ciampa, your current NXT champion and the greatest sports entertainer of all time. Oh wait, Robbie, since you did that, I got to do it for you. Come on. Just for some humor there. But my cat up doing that, rats. He's been sitting here the whole time watching us. But anyway, but to sum it all up again, Tommaso Ciampa came back. And like he said, when he first came back, when he said he was coming back, he said he was going to be the most dangerous SOB there is. And he for sure did so. What made him such a great heel, he had a plan and it worked. He at first got rid of Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano did come back. But then he just went the other route and had to send Johnny Gargano down, did anything he can to pretty much make Johnny Gargano him. Gargano went out of his way again whenever, Aleister Black got involved in the feud, to the Johnny taking him out to get him out of the way, to him, of course, with Gargano's, overconfidence of trying to get out there and just cost him the NXT championship. He cost Aleister Black instead. So because of that, Tommaso Ciampa wins the championship. And then he goes on to have, a great feud with the Velveteen Dream, who, if I may also throw a little comedy segment here, where he mentions that, the Velveteen Dream is just not,
tough enough?
Tough enough? I popped when he said that one. That was funny. But no, he's just, and now he's literally trying to bring Johnny Gargano along with him pretty much, getting him to challenge Ricochet for the North American Championship, helping him, defeat Aleister Black inside the steel cage. Again, Johnny Gargano was probably my second pick, but to me, Johnny Gargano still has something to prove. In my opinion, he still has something to accomplish Tommaso Ciampa, was the true definition of a true heel, getting people to absolutely hate him and get like the proper heel he needs. But again, just like he didn't care. He got to where he wanted to be. The ball's in his court. He is controlling his destiny right now, I feel. So that's why I felt that, he was my pick for Wrestler of the Year, because he displayed the results that he wanted to get out of this year, and he for sure got him. And once again, he has that badass theme song.
Mr. 5. All right, Robbie, finish us out.
Well, Mike, my pick for Wrestler of the Year is the yin to your yang. From NXT, he has a bunch of monikers, whether he's Mr. Takeover or Badass or Mr. Wrestling. But, of course, we all know him by one name, Johnny Gargano. I picked Johnny Gargano mainly because this guy just had an elite year, a banner year, an all-star year in NXT in 2018. Yes, he did not win a single championship in 2018, but every time he stepped into the ring, he gave us his all, and he put on incredible match after incredible match after incredible match at every NXT takeover he stepped in. Whether it was the classic with Almas in Philadelphia, the wars with Ciampa, the war with Aleister Black at TakeOver War Games 2. He became Johnny Takeover because he is Johnny Takeover. He's always delivering these classic matches at NXT TakeOver events, and I believe he will deliver another classic with Ricochet in just, I don't know what the day is, the 17th, right? 17th, so in like 9 days, he's going to deliver another classic with Ricochet. And not just the matches, but the character development. He was so determined to rid NXT and rid himself of Tommaso Ciampa that it took him to lanes he never thought he'd go. And his hatred for Tommaso Ciampa, little by little, turned him into the thing he never wanted to become. He's becoming like a Tommaso Ciampa clone with this dark side. And that's why you could say Ciampa's the puppet master,
Right.
The character evolution was huge for Johnny Gargano this year because he hasn't turned full-fledged heel, but he was the one revealed to attack Aleister Black. And he said that Aleister was simply in his way, and he knocked Aleister out of his way so he could get another crack at Ciampa and the NXT Championship. And even that failed. But still, incredible matches, incredible character, incredible personality. The fans were heavily behind him for a majority of the year. He still has his fan base, even though he's more going toward that dark side. And we will see if we get a DIY reunion at TakeOver Phoenix next Saturday. But Johnny Gargano had a banner 2018. One hell of a year. What an incredible wrestler. What an incredible athlete. And that's why he gets my nod as the best wrestler of 2018.
Nice.
Good stuff, and thank you everybody for tuning in to part 2 of the WWE Year in Review Awards video. Before we close things out here, you guys can get a plug in for your channels.
You can go first, Robbie.
All right, so thanks again, Dan, for having me, Mike. Always a pleasure working with you and with Dan, who's going to sleepy buys pretty soon. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching and listening. As always, you can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Robbie1Kenobi, as it's spelled here on my YouTube channel. I'm looking to get back into the video groove soon. I did pitch a fantasy booking video idea that I had regarding WrestleMania 35 and a major dream match that, if it was to happen, it would just be epic. And I'll go more into detail about that when I film it. But yeah, I'm hardworking, and I'm trying to get into WWE as a creative writer. And Mike will tell you a little bit more about how you can help sponsor my journey and whatnot. But yeah, thanks for watching and listening. Always a pleasure working with these guys. Make sure to check out their videos. They make great content as well. We are 3/4 of the 4 horsemen of the YWC, and even without our good brother Gene, who's still in our thoughts and everything, we ride together. And yeah, let's move forward in 2019.
All right, I'll get my plug in really quick. As always, guys, you can find me here on YouTube at the Club of May 1983, where I talk wrestling, play video games, do whatever shit I want to do. You may also follow me on Twitter, where I usually live tweet during Raw and SmackDown and whatnot, and pay-per-views as well. So you can find them there at Demand Airbody 3. And as always, guys, make sure to support Dan and Robbie's channels as well. And as always, guys, if you want good fantasy booking ideas, definitely check out Robbie's channel. And if you love what he has to say, please get hashtag please sign Robbie trending on Twitter to definitely, get into WWE and have the right resources that he needs as well, for sure. So definitely, get that trending on Twitter as well, guys. So subscribe to my channel, but also support these guys as well.
Well said, well said. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video. Be sure to check out Mike and Robbie's channels, respectively. Links can be found down below in the description box. Be tuned for that as I train with my Kane Action Team brothers. And also be sure to check out the Kane Action Team here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for all the latest and greatest stunt work and choreography in the Akron, Ohio area. So thank you once again for tuning into this video. And thank you to Mike and Robbie for joining me. And I will catch you all in my next video, whenever that may be. So until then, thanks for watching and have a good night.